Nothing is sacred to give. Whenever man is straight, you can bet you let the way. Oh, can't you see? You was that snake there in the garden, the one that tricked your Adam and Eve. You were behind Santa Claus and that image on the cross. Would you believe you could see the revelation being not mistaken, the real thinking? Don't waste your time in nothing you are better good. Cause it's only life is in your mind. It's only understood if you would just start believing in truth and reality. The trick is right away. So as long as you keep using him, you'll keep using him. You decide.
الحمد لله رب العالمين وبسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, thank you for joining us this morning for All Things Human. Alhamdulillah, and I'm expecting our dear brother Imam Darnell to check in on the blog talk side of it. You know, we'll still be live and have our interaction, inshallah, given that everything shows. I'm kind of surprised that he's not here right now, but be that as it may, we are here. Let me just go ahead and I can go ahead and start with these things. For as far as the book is concerned, anyway, whether he's here with us at the moment or not, you should have it in mind to get that book. Get this book. Let me show you that. I've got too much stuff going on, huh? Let's kill that. Let's open that up. Now, let's see what we can do. That's what I want to share with you. So you can get the book, The First National Independent Islamic School System in America. Darnell Karim is an aspiring author, but the aspiration is done now because we have the product in hand. But he is an aspiring author, an inspirational personality, and someone that thrives off of helping people achieve great things in life. The idea of this book has stuck inside the author's head for quite some time now, but he has never really found the time to put pen to paper and write it all out. That is, until he finally decided to do it and bless his readers with this insightful piece of literature. About the book, this book is to give a personalized experience of Darnell Karim in the original Nation of Islam, more specifically about the development of the first national independent Islamic school system in America. The idea for the school was initially proposed by the founder, W.D. Farad. The late Honorable Elijah Muhammad became the leader, and his wife, Sister Clara Muhammad, followed through on the idea, making them all part of the founding members of the great institution of learning. The idea of this book is to inform the masses about the invaluable institution and the role that it has played since its founding in the modern world, and also to give a history of people who had lost their ancestral Muslim roots. Grab your copies today to learn more from its beginning to the state of the art. Alhamdulillah, really, really many great stories. And it's such a great uh, program, if you will, uh, can be fashioned simply by, I'm going to take it out right now, can be fashioned simply by um, just having the parade of former students of Clara Muhammad School right now. You just over the years, it pops to mind right away. Imam Pleman Alameen's daughter, who was among the first uh, graduates of the high school of Clara Muhammad High School in Atlanta, Georgia. She's now a Superior Court judge, the chief judge of the Superior Courts, something on that order. Uh, that, I mean, and that's just one example. And the number of doctors and lawyers and engineers and other people who are entrepreneurs of the highest order, global entrepreneurs of the highest order, just coming out of the fountain of just that school. And there are many others from other Clara Muhammad schools around the country that are actually phenomenal. So if we ever and whenever we do this who's who of that, then that's going to be a wonderful artifact, piece of literature. Uh, I need to reach out and try to find out what's going on here, because we all want to hear from our brother. How can I do that? Y'all don't need to be in on this conversation. Let's see. Oh, I just got a ring like he was trying to come in. So, inshallah, let's see how that goes. Y'all get your coffee and your tea and get ready. I don't mind. Lemon, honey, ginger. It's always great. Let me go ahead and leave this out. So I just spoke to him, and he said he's trying to check in. They tell him that the line is filled, and I'm looking at this board, and it's like, how in the world is that filled? No, I'm saying, and people have given me that message before. It's not about him. It's about this system itself. How is that? Because like you say, I pay good money for being here on the platform. So it's like those numbers are not true to it. So he's trying to dial in, but oh, you know what? I will tell you this. I will tell you this. It's just a fact. I mean, sometimes there's certain things that we just really don't want to kind of face. Look for that book, Surveillance Valley, or the book Surveillance Valley. Look it up. You can also find it on audiobooks. On audiobooks, and this is a early. This is early. This is not a brand new book. This is an old book about how Silicon Valley, all of these, the Googles, the YouTubes, the Facebooks, the whatever the other large digital network features that we utilize, they are in bed, literally. They are in bed, literally, and have been from the get, as we say, from the beginning, with the national security systems, CIA, NSA, all of that. And so, and there is a list, and this is old. There's a list of millions of Americans that that are on the list because of their potential dissidence and potential uh, unwillingness to comply with the with the consensus that is valued by the powers that be that would want to dominate, in terms of flipping a switch on and flipping a switch off. And like, people get canceled on YouTube, get canceled on Facebook, they get canceled on Twitter or what have you, if you say the wrong thing, if you're talking about the wrong thing, if you're aimed in the wrong direction. And wrong direction means the unwillingness to comply and to conform with the behavior and sensibility that the surveillance state wants to have. I mean, it is what it is. It's so much further than we actually think it is. So it's like, you might think about the things that we're doing and things that we talk about, and that on one level you may think that it's so small. It's small relative to, if you talk about numbers and networks. No, it's like we don't have anything even approaching a whiff of what a Rihanna or a Beyonce or a Lil Wayne or whoever else you might want to throw in. Throw into quote unquote Caucasians in that mix. Who is that? Taylor Swift. Those kind of people, because they're in the program. They serve the role. They're the Pied Pipers of the society, right? So that's fine. So that their channel is wide open and being pushed. However, little small people with these big ideas, they're the threats. They're the threats. You walking around with the key to the locks that the slaves are shackled with, and you walking around unlocking slaves with this key. Well, that's a problem. That's a problem. So when little things like this happen, I do not dismiss it as absolutely, how is that happening, right? It has its reasons. And you need to understand that Al Islam really lived See, they're even those Muslims who
Assalamu alaikum.
those Muslims, alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam, Imam. How you doing? Welcome.
I'm doing good.
Good.
I was dialing the other. It kept sending me, cut me off, so I tried this number here.
Okay. Yes. Alhamdulillah. Well, we're happy to see you. I guess they heard us talking about them messing with us because we're setting the slaves free. So they kind of put a crimp in our line. But we're not going to spend much more or any more time on that. We are happy to have you here with us, and we are going to hear a little welcoming word from you, and then I'm going to read. I'll probably read a couple of pages this morning because it started out. It's the third chapter. We're talking about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but I want some initial, statements, comments, whatever that you'd like to make, and then I'm going to do a little reading, and we're going to get into our conversation.
Yes. Well, first of all, we always begin with God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. We thank Allah for this life, and we thank Allah for the Muhammad, the last prophet, peace be upon him, who represents the completion guidance for mankind to follow. When we read the Quran and believe in the one God, and then God gives us a human being how to follow his commandments. The last chapter, the last revelation for mankind, the Quran. I wanted to, what comes to my mind in this, would like to stay in this, on the subject of Honorable Elijah Muhammad. What comes to my mind is the fact of how I wanted to view him as not only the man that we know on the stage, speaking as our leader, speaking of the concerns of the African American people, etc. But I can't help but reflect more or less on the person, my personal life with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, to see him as a father, uncle, grandpa, or whatever. I had a chance to see that part of him, and I thank Allah for it, to have known him as a human being, like the ordinary person, and also his wife, Sister Clara. My life with him is the focus that I thank Allah for that life with this great man. And I do have some, as we talk, some things that I think that people should really focus on, the major part of his life.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same as once I asked the Imam Muhammad about the prophets, and he says that yes, the prophets, of course, are important in the Quran and Revelation, but we should focus on the major steps that they play in terms of our growth and development. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what I would want to focus on. One of the major things that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did to make a change for us here in America, and also see him as the common man that you would see every day in life, just sitting talking like two people be talking to each other.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, that's that's so wonderful. Alhamdulillah. And I'm going to read these first chapters. I was involved in an interview, and you and I spoke about it earlier, and
sure.
That interview was to talk about Elijah Muhammad, talk about Clara Muhammad, talk about Imam Muhammad. May Allah be pleased with all of them. And and this personalization is critical. So I'm gonna go ahead and read a couple of pages. And I was thinking also about uh, how this is as I read the pages, it comes to it. But I can see a movie
Sure.
like this book. It's like a screen adaptation of this book. It's like it's just not out of consideration. And as you look at this material, you can see the movie. Let me read. Let me go ahead and read this. Uh, I'm reading
All
from
right.
page.
Sure.
I'm reading from page 25. Says the late Honorable Elijah Muhammad was born Elijah Poole, October 7th, 1897, to William and Marie Poole of Sandersville, Georgia. Like many African Americans during the 1920s, he took his wife Clara and his small children and migrated to Hamtramck, Michigan, a suburb of Detroit, in search of opportunities for a better life. The urban North, hampered by serious socioeconomic problems brought on by the Great Depression and America in general, monitoring the impending threat of World War, provided little, if any, relief for the South's racial brutality for Elijah Poole and his family, leaving them to exist as any other African American family victim to America's oppressive environment. In 1931, Elijah Poole met the mystic teacher W.D. Farad, whose mystical religious language and social commentary on freedom, justice, and equality for the burdened African American people had attracted the curiosity of his wife, Clara. Shortly thereafter, Elijah Poole was converted to this teaching, accepting a new identity, Elijah Muhammad, and later in 1934, he accepted the sole leadership of the fledgling organization called the Lost Found Nation of Islam when W.D. Farad left. As leader of the new nation, he soon became referred to and addressed as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He continued to work to establish the teachings that W.D. Farad had left with him, but the change in leadership did not go unopposed, and he eventually moved his family from Hamtramck to Chicago shortly after the birth of their seventh child, Wallace. There followed a period of instability during which the Honorable Elijah Muhammad moved around the country, sometimes in disguise, to elude enemies who were committed to removing him. He was eventually forced to go into hiding because of serious disputes over who should lead the new movement. While he was in hiding, Sister Clara was the bonding agent for the group, communicating the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's instructions to the members who remained loyal to him. These members began the work of community developing and inviting their people, the descendants of slaves who were oppressed by Jim Crow segregation in the South and poverty and overcrowded slums in the North, to dignity, self-respect, and the willingness to take their power back, and in the words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, do for self. At first, we had our temple meetings in homes and apartments. Someone had a 4-bedroom apartment, and we had big meetings in the front room. We would use maybe like 2 bedrooms for search, one for the brothers, one for the sisters. The secretary would take donations, the charity in the kitchen. The man sat in the drawing room and the women sat in the dining room. It would be like that. The temple moved from place to place. The nation was growing so rapidly that crowding was always an issue and a larger place of worship was needed. I remember, speaking to Imam Darnell Karim, that's him speaking, I remember a time when about 75 believers were at the meeting in someone's apartment. I don't think we were in any location for more than a year, but I was a child and time registers differently with children. Anyway, we moved around a lot as the congregation grew bigger. We had meetings at 33rd and King Drive, the South Parkway, 33rd and Rhodes, a horse stable. 37th and Wentworth, up to a storefront church on the 2nd floor, 51st in Michigan on the northeast corner. This is the only building of all that we occupied that is still standing. 45th Place over the store at 63rd and Cottage Grove. There was a row of stores on the ground level, and the Muslims occupied the 2nd floor. The Mecca building, a large building 2 blocks long, formerly a hotel for the rich, which was later transformed into an apartment building. And that's just a little taste of the early life of the Nation of Islam. And I mean, if that ain't a movie, just that. If that ain't a movie, I don't know what is. Go ahead, talk to us. I know those bring back many memories for you.
One place to another, yes. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I said, go ahead. I know that stimulates some memories in your head right away.
Oh my God, that is certainly it does a lot of memories. Thinking about going from one place to another, and especially the one on 43rd and Cottage Grove. People probably don't remember the picture in their mind, but I'm thinking about the place itself.
Mm-hmm.
When we had, that was the first place we got that was big when we found out that Elijah Muhammad was being released from prison, but it was pardon me. I'll go back a little bit. One issue was interesting to me was the horse stable. Because there was a lot of that in Chicago. Horse stables was kind of common because that was where the people who didn't have regular jobs, they would rent the horse and wagon, and then they would go down and they would ride down the alley and pick up wood and old paper, rags, whatever it is. And the horse and wagon was very common to see it coming up and down the alley with the horses. And at the end of the day, they would turn it into the rag factory and make a nice little piece of money. I rode on one of those wagons or one of the couple of pioneers. But in saying that, when we got to the horse stable, it was things all around the wall. We had to clean all that up and everything, clean up the floor, paint everything, and then it turned into the temple.
Mm.
And then when we got to the 43rd, that was really the main place, 43rd Street, where our first graduation came about with Imam W. Muhammad and Charles. They were the first graduate, and Elijah Muhammad, our first saving day. That was a big deal because that was the animal hospital, and we turned that into a temple. But going through all of those places, battling and cleaning them up, every place was a big deal, you know. Mm-hmm. And so, what was in between all that? Now, think about this for a minute. This was in the 40s now. Pardon me. That Elijah Muhammad used to go to a grocery store or not too far from his house for an Arab on the grocery store, and he would buy halal food there. Mm. And he had this conversation with the man and say, "Do you know an Arabic teacher? Because I need an Arabic teacher. We need to for my people to learn Quranic Arabic." Mm-hmm. Now in the 40s, he's saying Quranic Arabic. He didn't say Arabic language. He said, "I want my people to learn Quranic Arabic." Mm-hmm. So that they'd be able to learn, if you understand the religion and understand the Quran. Mm-hmm. So, in saying that, and really focus on that, Imam said, you know, he said we can historically say and rightfully say that it was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad who introduced Quranic Arabic to our community. Mm-hmm. Even though when he came into office, we was in the classes learning it. We need to give that credit to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for introducing the language of the Quran to our community that we are now studying. Yeah. And myself, my brother, Imam, Ahmed, and Akbar, my wife Gloria, all of us, we were in that class. Mm. So that first class of learning Quranic Arabic. So look what that means to our community. In the midst of all of that mystic teaching, as you say, of all of mystic teaching, we was actually learning the religion. Mm-hmm. So for the man to have this type of vision at that time, I didn't think about Quranic Arabic then, but that's what it was. But we had the right teacher Jamil Diab, he knew about our teachers and everything, about the Quran and all like that. He never did anything to interfere with it.
Mm-hmm.
So what did Jamil do? Jamil began to teach as Arabic how to think in Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
So he never introduced any English letters,
Mm-hmm.
how to read the Quran. So when I'm reading, fortunately, as a lot of us do, I can hear it in their sound. They're not really reading the Arabic. They're just going by sound.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, going by just the tone to make a sound so they don't know long and short vowels, etc. But Jamil stressed on that.
Mm-hmm.
But in saying that now, let me lead to a point with all of this.
Yeah.
Is that we're still on Elijah Muhammad. Jamil, I didn't want to get away from him. He was the one that introduced with the halal food and Quranic Arabic. I met with Jamil Diab, me and Gloria in Phoenix, about a year before he passed.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me some history that I didn't realize that I'm observant. He said, I was teaching you all Arabic, but the people didn't know I was reporting to Elijah Muhammad almost every month.
Mm.
And you want to know how was we doing? He gave a report on myself, Akbar, Gloria, my sisters here, and others as Wallace, Carl Wallace H, and Isaiah, all of them. He gave the history, each one. Then he got to Imam Muhammad. He said, Wallace, now Wallace, talking to Elijah Muhammad, he said, now, he's different. He said that Wallace, at the time he's calling him Wallace, he said, Wallace will be your best help in the mission because he is a sensitive person and he is a thinker.
Mm. Lord.
And I thought, God, I say, yeah, this is what he said. He would be your best help. And Jamil Diab say he didn't realize what he was saying to Elijah Muhammad. But as we all grow older, he said, man, my thinking was just right. Because he said, I thought I was on the fire. And he started asking me about how each one of us is doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So to me, I saw that as a significant role in terms of Elijah Muhammad, the leader. Mm. Now, let me add this here.
Yeah. Go right ahead.
Elijah Muhammad, the uncle, the grandfather, whatever, all these, he's not on the stage no more. It's just Elijah Muhammad. And I would be at the house a lot. I might as well just had a room at the house because I was always there. And sometime I would be over there and he'd send me home and tell me, you need to go home and do some work instead of sitting around here and talk. Because I was in the kitchen in the house there, and Sister Clara picked some soup and some rolled man. We was in there just laughing and talking, me and the Imam and Akbar, and he walks in there. He said, well, hey, Assalamu alaikum, son. He says, I see you all are having a good time in here. You go ahead and finish up your dinner, and Darnell, you can go home. You can be dismissed. Mm-hmm. You need to go home and cut your father's grass or something, do some work. And just sitting around here just talking. I felt so bad. Just the messenger talking to me like that. Mm-hmm. So we got back in the car. He said, man, you worried about what my father said? I said, yeah, man, I don't know. And look, Darnell, I'm just telling you, my father is who he is. I mean, he's a messenger, yes, of all that too, but he is a human being, man. And he makes mistakes, and sometimes I have to correct him, and I'll just walk out the house. Mm-hmm. I was working at the bakery, called Shabazz Bakery. And I was 18 years old. They wanted us to be dressed neat because, of course, I had this van, this truck. They came up with a product called fried pies, apple fried pies, and peach pies.
Oh yeah.
And so what I did, I had the inspiration of introducing to stores. I had about 50 stores I had our products in. But the point of it, they couldn't keep up with it because everything was all handmade. Nathaniel was the main favorite, Sister Ethel was the main one with the cakes. So what happened, we had when the restaurant was a restaurant, grocery store, and meat market all and bakery all in one. And that's why I learned how to do halal, because we used to kill the chicken in the background, you know. I mean, we used to kill the chickens in the back, and Elijah come back and show me how to halal. You know, put the chicken's head between the feathers, the neck there. I mean, between the wings. You say a prayer and you rub in this, and like that, then you kill it. Well, the reason why he showed it to me because I was sawing on the chicken's neck. And he said, hey, why are you doing that? Why you like for somebody to saw on your neck? So he said, let me show you how to do that. You know, and he did. So I learned how to halal from him and my dad, who worked at a Jewish market here. But I got to tell you this funny part before I end.
No, go ahead. That's why you're here.
I'm having fun talking, so I'll pray a lot of y'all to be patient.
Oh no, this is rich. This is that story. I'm watching the movie while you're talking. Go ahead. I'm not talking about Elijah Muhammad, the leader up there. I'm talking about the man that I had a chance to the real man, the real person. And that's the way he treated me along with his kids. He didn't separate me from his kids. What he do with them, he do it with me too. If he punished them, he punished me too. Whatever way we call punishment. Yeah.
I would sit down at the counter at our bakery. And because every day I had to report to him how the sales are going. And this took about several years I did this here, but I was sitting down at the counter and resting for a minute. And I decided to mop the floor because it was dirty. I got the mop out and I started mopping the floor. Here comes I'll be like the mother come in the door. He say, here you go again, stop me. Son, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm trying to get this, doing this and doing that. He said, okay. He took his coat off. He was always in the suit. He took his coat off and everything, put it to the side, rolled up his sleeve, and he started mopping. He said, okay, I'll tell you what to do. I'm going to mop this part over here with soap, and you come behind it and rinse it. And then that's what I would do. And then he gets about half of the floor. And then he stopped. He said, okay, that's what I want you to do all the time. Remember that. You clean it first with soap, and then you rinse it off. So I said, man, if somebody walk in the door here and see this, say, you like mom in here mopping? But that's the way he was. That's the type of person that he would be into your life. Not saying I'm separate from others, because he did my brothers and sisters in the same light with me look like I might. I don't know if I don't say the black sheep of the family, but he was always correct. And I was thinking that he would have to be personally. I said, oh my God, what have I done here? But moving ahead with that, here's the good one. Gloria was working at the house, and her main part was to, as Elijah Muhammad was meeting with the ministers, her part was to serve him. He didn't want nobody bringing food to him but him. Okay, that's a story in itself. But when I was working at the bakery, the crowd felt bad about me, so she showed me how here's what you have to do to save your money. I know you ain't how to make any money, but just save this, do this here. So when I come back to get something from it, he would come up there. He said, "Well, son, you're here to see my wife about getting some money." I said, "Yes, sir." My knees are shaking a little bit. He said, "Okay, well, see, he'll be with you." And then okay. Moving on with it, I proposed to Gloria for marriage. Gloria was 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so I met with him, and he's at the table. This one he had he had on his sunglasses, his fez, and the Quran, and you're in trouble. that was the routine, boy. That long table,
Uh-huh.
and then you gonna meet with him. He had him shaved on and that turban and the Quran. I said, "Oh my! I ain't gonna say the word."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna say the word.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, he said, "Okay, he approved of it." Here I said, icing on the cake. Yeah, Shuaibe and my dear audience.
Mm-hmm.
After Gloria, we had a big wedding. She had 10 boys, 10 men, and 10 girls.
Mm.
I was at the bakery. All right, here you go. Here's the good one. And so it's about a week before the wedding. So I'm at the bakery working. Call from Muhammad. Say, "Oh, the messenger's on the phone." I said, "Hold it." I ran to the phone real quick. I said, "Assalamu alaikum, son." Like, "My son's up here, Papa. How you doing?" "Oh, not too good there. I'm looking at the report here, and that you didn't know how to turn in money, and it looks like the business is going down. We're not making money at the bakery." Now, this was a week before my wedding.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Well, looks like I'm going to let you go."
Wow.
I said, "What?" I didn't say that to him. About a week before my wedding, he told me, "You gotta let you go. I'm about to let you go, son." Man, all kind of stuff was in my mind. You can imagine that. So what happened is that I had to break the news to Gloria.
Mm-hmm.
And Elijah Muhammad and my brother met with me. He said, Junior said, Elijah Muhammad II, boy, he said, "Man, look, don't do that to Gloria, man. What's wrong with you, man? My dad just signed your behind." And so he said, cancel it, man. He was said, "Yeah, man, don't do that to Gloria." I came to Gloria and I said, "Look, I didn't have no car, and I didn't have an apartment nowhere to stay. I didn't propose to this beautiful girl for marriage." So I told Gloria, I said, "Look, I don't have no apartment, and I just lost the job. The messenger just let me go." And so Gloria said, "He'll marry me anyway."
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
She got me. I didn't have nothing. I mean, in terms of materially.
Yeah.
But the good part of it was, Elijah Muhammad said, "Well, son, I know you don't have nowhere to stay or whatever. And no, I know you had a job." He said, they gave me some money. He gave me a good start. He said, "And we have somewhere for you all to stay. We have a nice apartment for you, and you'll be just fine." And the rest is history.
Yes, yeah. And how long? How long? Alhamdulillah. No, beautiful. How long have you both been married? It's around 70 years, 60 years. How many? Got to be more than 60.
Hey, bro, I'm fresh out of high school. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying.
65 years. October 12, 1957.
Uh-huh.
And Sister Clara was our special guest. She was that woman, oh man, I could say so much about her. We'll talk about her in the next chapter. Mm-hmm. She came to the wedding, and there was some special bouquet of flowers at the table. It's in the book.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very, nobody has that. Whoever got the book, they got that picture.
Uh-huh.
That's a very historic picture of Sister Claire at our wedding. Only a pose of her like that. But she was there for our special guest, and that's what made my day.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Oh yeah, is that the picture at the start of chapter 4, where she's sitting there?
I might be moving ahead.
No, it's okay. We just mentioned that's next week. So this beautiful picture of her, and it's just very interesting, So Clara Muhammad had to. What time? What year was that again?
It was 1957.
Okay, so it's 1957. So she was about 58 or something like that, right? She was about 58 years old herself at that time, right? And it's just it's really something to think about these historic figures when they were so much younger, and like my wife and I, of course, we're beyond the years that picture was taken, of her at that time. So to think about a 58-year-old person that you may know right now and taking it down to 40 and 35, and to know that, well, Elijah Muhammad was 35 at some time, and Clara Muhammad was 35 at some time, and Wallace was 35. And so this sense of them not as being these quote unquote profile historic figures, but just as people, living their life. I mean, if you just like, look, I'm in a special quote unquote place in that sense, but when you are living that life in that moment, you're just living. You know what I'm saying? You're just living, and you're dealing with what you're faced with. Go ahead.
That's the truth. That's something that you're saying that, ma'am, is that, at that time, I'm trying to put myself back during that time. I never thought about him in the terms that we see him in this life. I saw him like I saw my dad.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him in that life because my father became his personal barber.
Mm-hmm.
And in prison, that was his barbering in prison in Island, Michigan. And they right almost in the same cell, him and Emmanuel right there together. So when he came out of prison, he bought my father a barber chair. And that barber chair is still in the house, the old house.
Oh, wow. It's
still there in the basement. He had an open house about 5 years or so ago.
Mm.
It is still in there right now. That historical chair.
Wow.
Yeah. So he used to, when we was living on 57th Street, he would call often, all the messages on the phone, the talking on the phone. How you doing? Yeah, tell your father that I'm ready, or whatever. And then they'd talk with me, he's going over there. It was just regular, just family, more than anything. It wasn't the stage. That was a big deal also.
Yeah.
But like even with Gloria's brothers and sisters, and it was just like having the family. Where this week is with that sister so-and-so's house. Next week is that other so-and-so's house. Mm-hmm. It wasn't restaurant to restaurant. It was just house to house.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we started. But as the community grew and got bigger, then our relationship kind of like it began to spread. Get a little distant.
Yeah. Let me read something else, Imam. Let me read something else from you. Since you mentioned your father. On the next pages from which I began the reading, you mentioned your father here. Let me read this page and comment with regard to that. It says, my father was a minister. My father was minister when we moved to 33rd off of King Drive, and that's like Lake Meadows now. Yeah. It was a horse stable, and we cleaned it up, put chairs in there, and started having meetings. That was almost like a routine with us to take something old and make it new. That was the basic teaching of the Nation of Islam under the leadership of Elijah Muhammad: take something old and make it new. My father was the minister, during those few years in the early 40s while the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was away. And he was secretary when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad came back. The Nation of Islam was attracted to, Nation of Islam also attracted the attention of the authorities in Detroit and Chicago. In March 1935, the believers in Chicago were put in a position where they had to fight the whole police station because they had taken their children out of the public schools. And they did. That's a great history. It is one of the many examples of the courage and the firm commitment to the nation that they were building that made what we have today possible. And they made the headlines. I have a photograph from the Sun-Times of the Tribune that shows a man wearing a long black coat, suit, and tie who had just got through fighting. So we had headlines then, and that tall, dark man with the long coat on was my wife, Gloria Karim's grandfather, Lindsay Majid. Even her grandfather and grandmother were in the temple. They had lined up all the sisters and all the brothers. They had them all lined up. Some of the sisters still had their purses in their hands while they were fighting the police. So people have this iconic image of Malcolm when he went down there and the men were outside the police department and he just waved his hand. This is the Spike Lee presentation. He just waved their hand and the men moved. They said that's too much power for a black man, right? But here you got the women throwing down with the Chicago police. Hey, look. It's like I'm not telling you that you don't know. I'm just getting a little dramatic. This Al Capone ain't dead yet. You understand what I'm saying? In Chicago, you got these members of the temple, women and men saying, "Look, hey, it's like that. Well, okay, let's go." Because if you talk about our children, somebody gonna die today. That's just how it goes. Talk to us about that.
You know what? This is something that you were saying that things come to mass a lot that we can see on it here for days what happened. But it was a lady sister told me something. She got this book and she started calling me back to tell me that she was out of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And she wanted to know what we talking about right now. How was we able to build our community and do what we're doing of all this? What we're going through, we went to jail fighting, all like that. Al Capone and all these other crooks, everything, racism was going on. Do you know, none of them bothered us.
Mm.
Nobody came up. We was able to go through all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And without any influence, that's how powerful we were.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in saying that, the immigrant Muslims, now one of them is listening, now a lot of them are listening, they have to realize is that all that when you're talking about right now is part of the history that caused them to be in America to practice their religion.
Absolutely.
Because of our history and what we're talking about right now,
mm-hmm.
we did all this with nothing but faith
mm-hmm.
and just family.
Yeah. Yeah, that's powerful.
And they need to know this history.
Absolutely. And all of us need to never, ever, ever, ever play down the significant role that we play in whatever life of Al-Islam is on the tree in America and many parts of the world. But we're just going to stick with the American side of it. It's like, come on now, you take that out of it. People there are those who want to say, well, Islam was here before the Nation of Islam and woo, woo, woo. Yeah. All the above. Okay. But what established a place for Islam to be rooted, just like your book shows the tree and the roots, the deep roots That's like, man, you take away who we are and what we brought to the picture. You don't have Al-Islam as it is. I don't care whether you can get graduation from Stanford, Harvard, Yale, MIT, NJIT, whatever. It's like without that man and without those women and without the faith of those followers at that time against all forces, we cleared the ground for it in here. So listen, hey, all y'all that's listening, man, do not ever let people disrespect the contribution that we made the Islam possible so that others can shine. Nowadays, you would have no shine without what Shine did. Without what Shine did for you. Come on with it. All right, I'm getting preacher mode now. Okay, we got about 5 minutes. We got about 5 minutes, Darnell. Go ahead.
No, listen, you're doing fine. You're making me think of a whole lot and getting into the right spirit here.
Okay.
Is that what saddens me is that this book, the people don't realize I'm not trying to make money to make money. I'm trying to get you out there because my reward, I want my reward to agree with my Lord.
Yes.
That's what it should be at with my Lord. But you can't let these immigrant Muslims play you down.
Right.
You shouldn't do it. You'll lose. They'll disrespect you.
Yeah. Yeah.
In saying that.
Yeah.
Just recently, we went to a Muslim community. It was all Caucasians there. A Muslim, I reserved some of who they are, but they were all Caucasian Muslims, and the Imam was Caucasian, and the very devoted foreign Muslims. We was invited to come there and give the history.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was trying to see what my son would be at that Jummah. And he's sitting in office with me. I'm looking at a brown, blue-eyed Muslim brother, warm brother. He was a sheikh there. And he rubbed the book with his hand and looked me straight in the eye. And he said, Imam Karim, he said, this is your khutbah.
Mm-hmm.
That should be your khutbah right here. So will you go and speak, tell the people about this? And we sold quite a few books then. And I got pictures of historical pictures of white people, white Muslims, asking me for my autograph. I was crying, brother.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe this, that here's a Caucasian Muslim brother. I don't want to use the term to separate it from color, but I was a Caucasian Muslim brother was banned from me and asking me to sign this book. It was in land. And then someone came up to me and kissed my hand. I said, no. He said, no, brother. And he kissed my hand, and my wife and son was with me. Now, what is that saying, cuz? That's saying a lot to me. That look how the longing of history, I believe that they want it too.
90 seconds.
And a lot of them know it, so the leadership among them is making sure that their people don't hear this.
Yeah, mashallah.
They don't want the people to know about it. Yeah. But once it gets out to them, you're going to see a major change.
Yes.
In America. Not only there's other people in our community writing history, because the history is too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep on writing whoever you are.
Yes.
You write for history in your local town. It's valuable.
60 seconds.
And I won't be able to be here all the time to hear my voice to tell you these things, but you're listening of the voice of a person who lived with Elijah Muhammad, Sister Clara, and who grew up with Imam Muhammad. So what I'm giving to you is the truth, and it's exactly what happened. So this has made us what we are today.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. And let me say this. Give me a second for this. It's a commercial, but the personal dimension of it. As I read Imam Darnell's book, it reminded me the flow and the ease of reading it. It's not just my literacy in terms of the ease and the flow in reading it. But the woman who's Maya Angelou, I was listening to her on, I think it was in an Oprah interview or what have you. When when she would write, God rest her soul, as we might say, she would write every day. It was her habit was to write every day, nonstop, no matter what, feel like it, don't feel like it, etc. And she said one of the most hated aspects of writing for her was the editing process. It's like the writing is okay. It's the editing that was torturous, right? But she said this. She said also is that if you find material easy to read, it's because the author has put a great deal of time into writing it. That thing didn't just fall out of their pen just like it is when you read it smoothly. It was worked on, it was shined up, it was smoothed out, it was edited to make it easy for the reader. So when you find a reading easy to read, that's a testament to the art, to the excellence of the author. And I'm telling you all, I'm saying I'm an author. I can claim to be an author. I got books, and I'm a reader. And I'm telling you, this book reads smoothly, excellently, wonderfully. And what happens is it brings, not only do you have these historic photographs in the book, but the imagery that comes through, the way that it's written is such that, man, like I told you, I said, it's like I'm watching a movie. I'm watching a movie. When you read the page, you can see it happening. So I mean, big congratulations on the order of the articulate quality of the writing. Don't underestimate that. Don't miss, like Bush said, this is a joke. You don't underestimate that. No, you this is everybody need to have it. Last words, Imam, and we're looking forward to next week when we get to Clara Muhammad, and alhamdulillah, we're gonna get, inshallah, we get there. Any last words from you before we proceed?
Yeah, they can how to get the book. They can use Zelle.
Yes.
Just using my phone number. They want to get it right now. 708-261-4091.
Mm-hmm.
And then also they can do they can mail it if they want to do that at P.O. Box 1225.
Mm-hmm.
P.O. Box 1225, Homewood, Illinois 60430. That's Homewood, Illinois 60430, and the P.O. Box is 1225. And I promised them I had something special for them with the Imam's voice that they're going to be getting with the ones that ordered in the past and the one that ordered now. I had something very special to give them with the Imam's voice on it that I think they will love it.
Give me that zip code again.
Zip code is 60430.
60430. Okay. So.
And there are a few people who responded to this event, Shuaibe, and I want to thank them for that. And they can be my witness to what we telling them about this book. They will be the witness to show it's exactly what it is. But I wanted to say this here. Allah has blessed me with two good editors.
Mm-hmm.
And one is Sister Hafisa Muhammad. She's in the book. Thank Allah for her dedication to making sure that it goes right. And Gloria, then she comes with the final approval with a stamp on it. Gloria Karim.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Yeah, and in the interviews that I had done and looking at your book, Viola Karim, right?
Yes.
Viola Karim, she was the one that validated and verified all the letters that we used to send to get our exes.
Yeah, she's the one that approve or disapprove. If you missed a dot or two, that was Sister Viola Karim will send it back to you and do it again.
Yeah, mashallah.
That was her mother.
Oh wow, yeah. So she's got rich roots that reach deep in this history. I mean, that's deep. When you got grandparents that was doing this thing right here, it was like, wow, that's royal DNA. That's royal DNA. All right, man, we gotta go. So inshallah, next week we look forward to doing it again. Thank you so much for being here, and I pray everyone has taken full benefit of that. Get the book. Those of you who have been on screen, you see that you can go to DK Lincorp, LINCORP at AOL.com, or you can call 708-261-4091, or you can also write to P.O. Box 1225, Homewood, Illinois 69430. Imam Darnell, thank you so much.
604-30.
Oh, 604. I typed it wrong. All right, so let's fix it.
60430.
All right, 60430. All right, so we have to fix that.
Yep.
All right, 60430.
60430.
All right, I got you. That'll be a fix. All right, love you, man. Talk to you later. Everybody have a wonderful day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.